Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Joe Bach from Box Garage, and I'm currently passing over what used to be the Tappan Zee Bridge. Now it's the Cuomo Bridge or something along those lines. That being said, this is a review for my 2021 Super Duty with a 7.3 Godzilla engine and just about 98, almost 99,000 miles. So we'll call this a 100,000 mile review. So that may prompt you to ask, why are you doing a 100,000 mile review at 98,837? And it's because I'm probably not going to have this truck at 100,000 miles. And if you guys want to follow along, I'll tell you why. So first things first, I'll give you a little bit of backstory on this truck. It's in Velocity Blue. You've seen it on my channel. I got it new. I put all these miles on myself. It's got a 10-speed transmission. And the truck pulls great. It rides great. The interior is very comfortable. And I really love everything about it. I think sticker on this truck was $66,000. I paid a little over that with COVID due to, the markups then. But I didn't really mind it because I got a lot extra for my trade-in. Like $10,000 plus over what I paid for it. So I didn't mind a little markup. So that being said, I've had it for 4 years. I got it in October of 21 and have been driving it ever since. Put on a lot of miles on for work. And even on this job, I do a lot too. That being said, I've had some issues with the truck. At 67,000 miles, I had to go put a new 10-speed in it. That was after the warranty expired, so Ford wasn't responsible for any of it. However, I talked with them and complained enough that they ended up splitting the cost with me and paid for about 70%. So I was like $3,500 out of pocket. That trans came with a 2-year unlimited mile warranty, and I expected to have to go put another trans in it under that warranty. And we're about 30,000 miles later, and I'm starting to feel like we're going to need to put a trans in this, which isn't a big deal because it's under warranty and they would do it for free. So that was just an expectation I had. The only issue with that is that I was going to be down a truck. I was going to be down a truck for a week or two, no big deal. But after that, my plan was to put that trans in, let it last for, I don't know, probably another year and a half, and then have to buy another trans to put in and then either sell the truck or, keep it. So there was a lot of options. I probably would have went and researched and bought like a built trans offline, but that is just a little bit more of an expense. It's just something I shouldn't have to do on a truck with this relatively this low of mileage and this new. So I don't know. I didn't really like that, but that was my plan. Warranty trans, and then after that, replace it or sell the truck before the second trans went out. And that was all fine and dandy until this past weekend when I was towing back from the East Coast Bronco Roundup. I had my Power Stroke Bronco on the back. That weighs about 12,000 pounds combined with the trailer. The Bronco itself is like 885, and the trailer is probably like 3 and change. So we're pulling back, and that's fine. Pull over to grab some food quick. Kara sits in the car with Figgy, or my dog, or our dog. And she shoots me a text, hey, there's no AC. So I'm like, oh, what did you do? Like, how did you get the AC to turn off? So I go back out. No, the settings were good. I'm pretty sure the AC compressor locked up. So luckily my roommate, Buddy Ben, was there. He was able to take Figgy and Kara for the ride home. And I just drove back on a 100-something degree day with the truck with no AC, with the windows down. So that wasn't pleasant. And that kind of kicked me into like, you know what? This thing's going to nickel and dime me to death. I'm still making payments on it. Why don't I get out of it while it's still worth a decent chunk of change? So I started calling around, did some Kelly Blue Book type stuff. And it looked like instant offers were about $37,000. And I would be able to get like a little bit more on trade-in, which is a lie. They never want to give you any more on trade-in. But that led me down a path of seeing what it was worth, and I eventually found a dealer who I believe will give me $40,000 for it. I think that's because I'm trading it on one of their vehicles, so then maybe they're just taking, like, some money off the top of that. one hand washes the other. But that's kind of why I'm trading it in. So far, though, the truck has, like I said, 100,000 miles on it, and I've had to replace a transmission, one set of tires about the same time as the transmission, my front brake pads, and we're at an AC compressor, and probably like a serpentine belt because it's chirped the belt. You could smell that the belt burnt a little bit. So that's been about it. Rear brakes are still original. They still have good meat on them too. No steering, no U-joints, all that's still good. The interior is great. When I get out, I'll show you guys a little bit around, but there's no tears in any of the seats. I'm also very careful with how I get in and out. Only other issues I've had, and these are kind of small things, are that driver mirror there. The gear inside it wanted to strip, probably from closing with like snow or ice and stuff like that. So it eventually stopped closing as nicely, but it still works. So that was one issue. And then the running boards on the outside of the truck, started to lose a little bit of their paint. And that was actually under warranty, but I kept getting the wrong running boards ordered in from the Ford dealer I dealt with. So that was actually never repaired. But not a big deal, but just something I thought I'd tell you. Other than that, though, I mean, the truck's been good. I don't know if I have too high of expectations, or if, maybe these are kind of like good gripes to have, like, a failed transmission, major failures, like heating AC, stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Am I expecting too much from a 100,000 mile truck, or are my expectations kind of in line with what they should be? I don't know. You tell me in the comments. So one of the things that was the most appealing about these trucks were the aluminum body. I've dealt with a lot of rust throughout my time in the automotive world, and rust sucks. So my thought was always, you know what? Let me get a truck with a nice aluminum body, and then if there's drivetrain issues, I can fix them. I guess that's a lie, because now I'm trading this in for a steel body truck. But my mindset kind of changed when I'm paying on the truck and things are still failing, like, well within their, time period when they should be good. So I think that's why that changed. But yeah, so back to the aluminum body. These trucks have an aluminum body. That's kind of one of the main appeals to them. And I've got to say, that's held up great. I've got no corrosion damage, not really any chips, no paint issues, nothing of the sort. So the aluminum body's good. And I'll crawl around later and look underneath, but I mean, the frame's pretty clean too. I've got no issues down there. So corrosion-wise, these trucks do great. But again, it's a 21. It's 2025, so it's 4 years old. It shouldn't be rusting out at this point anyway, even if it was steel-bodied. Drivetrain-wise, at 80-something thousand miles, I had to go and do plugs and wires in the 7.3, but that's really not too bad. The 7.3 is a workhorse. It pulls nice. It really helps with the 10-speed transmission when it's working. But it does drink gas pretty well. When I tow the Bronco, I get like 6.5 miles to get the gallon. But I towed it all the way to Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and I, felt comfortable doing it the whole way. So that's something that, this truck did well. But man, did I go through some gas doing it. Other than that, though, I don't really have any major gripes with this truck. It drives nice. The stereo's nice inside of them. It's relatively simple, mechanics-wise, I guess. I mean, I haven't done a ton of work on it, but from what I've seen, it's all pretty straightforward. With that, I'll end with giving a little bit of advice. If I were someone looking to get into a higher mileage Super Duty, I would make sure that I have some money in the bank for major failures. For a recommendation on a truck, it really depends on what your needs are. If you just need a truck for around town, moving some things, maybe some light duty towing, I'd say go look at something old. Older Super Duties, OBS Fords, stuff like that. They're easy to work on for when you have issues. The parts are cheap. They're plentiful. I really would say, look that way. If you're going to be having a little bit more need of a truck, like more capabilities and maybe a lower budget, I'd say check out the 6.2 trucks. I had a 6.2 before this, and while the 7.3 towed better, the 6.2 wasn't half bad. I'd also highly recommend people check out the 17 to 19s. I think they were built better before COVID, and you didn't have to worry about the 10-speed transmission failing on you. I also like the 6.7s. I don't have any personal experience with them, but I do want to get one in the future. But you just have to be careful with the failures on them, the fuel pumps, all the DEF equipment. So if you really need the diesel, you don't have much to do. Like, you can't get around it. You got to go that way. But I still think the 17 to 19 trucks are where it's at. And as for new trucks, if you need like really something cutting edge, a little bit more capabilities, I would say, spend the extra money and try to get something with a warranty on it. That being said, thank you guys for watching. I'd love to hear your comments and questions down below. And if you want to take a guess at what I ended up getting to replace the Super Duty, let me know that down below too. I have a feeling you guys aren't going to be able to guess it. And if I'm being honest, I wouldn't have thought I would have owned one of these vehicles even just a few days prior to when I bought it. So, give it a guess. Have a good one, guys.